Yes, hi, this is a video that we're going to do as a follow-up to the installation of this floor here. There's an adage that says that when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Today we're going to show you how to change a tile and make some lemonade. This is a natural stone material, and there's a void that happened inside the material itself. Natural stone material is polished on the top, but actually on the bottom, this is what natural stone looks like. It's got the actual natural stone as far as the voids that are on the bottom of it. Now these get back troweled and filled with thinset before setting, and that's what happened. But one of these blisters is what broke through on the top of our tile. Natural stone, travertine, and marble all have fault lines that are right in the material itself. It's natural material. So there are weak spots within each tile. Now the NTCA has actually identified that, and in the 2011 installation techniques and guidelines, they address that. Changing out one tile is bad enough, but to add to this situation, there's a floor heating system underneath this tile. Now there's three ways to install floor heating systems. One would be a single step installation where you actually set the tile with the same material that you're setting the mat with. Now if that's the situation we used here, the wire is way too close to this and we have a possibility of damaging it when we're cutting out the grout. The second would be to back trowel over the mat when it's installed. Also, it's way up at the top and very close to the bottom of this tile. Now what we did, and we know for sure, we used a system with edge strip kits and self-leveling underlayment, so we know for a fact that the mat itself is encased within the self-leveler. I don't have a problem when I cut through just the grout and the thickness of the tile. I will not be getting anywhere close to the mat, and I have full confidence we won't damage it. We're going to show you how to do that. Some of the tools that you're going to need, of course, make sure that you have safety glasses, hammer, various type of scrapers and chisels, because what we're going to do is really just going to break out the tile, cut the thinset down to the self-leveling, and then reset the tile. First step is to make sure that you actually cut the grout out from around the material. You're going to do the whole perimeter of this tile so that you have less risk of damaging any edges of adjacent tiles. Okay, what you want to do here, again, tenderly actually, see if you can you can find the fault lines in this material so that you can get a chisel or you can get something else so that you're going more horizontal, of course, than vertical. After breaking out a small area around that the whole void, we can see there was a void right inside the material. So once again, it was unpredictable, and so that's why we're doing this repair. Again, take your time on this. There's no rush. You make sure that you do smaller pieces at a time, and don't take your hammer and smash through, around the whole tile. You have more chance of damaging any adjacent materials. You can see we have full coverage on the bottom of the material, and the self-leveler is just underneath, of course, our thinset, so no chance of damaging the wire. Once you get an area, the material will come up in larger chunks, and once again, go horizontal so that you're not digging into the self-leveler. We've already cleaned most of the thinset here. This is the self-leveling compound here. Of course, we had to scrape up all of the thinset that was attached to it. But again, below this is our heating element, and absolutely now smooth tile surface for our replacement of the tile. The way of using the self-leveler and the edge strip kits has protected the heating wire. We had no problem, no chance of damaging the wire. And I can't say that enough. If this was a single installation, our wire would have been embedded right here in all of this thinset, and we definitely would have been pulling the wire on the bottom of each of the tiles, and definitely would have had a high risk of damaging the materials. Got everything clean. Notice you want to clean the edges where the grout line will be. And this was all scraped down. This is our original solid self-leveler that we had from our original install. Now I want to just show you again. We had full coverage on the back of this tile. You can even see that we actually keyed in, and I'm going to show you how you do that when we reset this. We keyed in thin set, so it's in good shape. But I also want to show you a profile of the material itself. You can see the voids that are literally just underneath the glaze of the tile. So that's why we said that it's unpredictable. This material is natural stone, but care to make sure that you have no deflection in the floor will really minimize the chance of any problems. Okay, now we've actually mixed up our thin set. You actually want to key it in first. So again, you have good adhesion. You saw that from our first tiles, it had no problem with sticking to the ground or sticking to the tile itself. It was the void. So again, once we got 100% coverage of it being keyed in, then we comb down the correct amount of thin set underneath. Comb it in one direction because we're going to try to collapse these combs. Okay, after we've done the base, we're going to fill in all these voids. We're going to key in the back of the tile. So this is a very important step when doing natural stone, travertine, porcelain. You got to make sure that you key in it in. You see all these voids here? We don't want to come back and change this tile again. So I'll make sure that all of that gets filled up. Make sure you push and set it down. It's much better to have any thin set come up between the grout lines at this stage to make sure that you're collapsing those combs to get full coverage. You can line up our corners. Be ready for grout. Okay, make sure, of course, that it's all set, and then you can actually just clean out these grout lines. Make sure you can readjust it. It's just one tile, one single tile, so we don't have to worry about any movement of any adjacent. Just want to make sure that we have good coverage, and then a nice clean grout joint so that the grout also can be at the proper depth. Okay, we waited a little while here. Let the tile set up a little bit. Mixed up our grout. Because it's a single tile, of course, you can grout at the same time. If this was the full floor, you would have to make sure that you stay off it so that you don't move any of the tiles. So it's as simple as grouting. Don't use too much water, and let this set a little bit so that you can dress the grout so it's nice and even, like all these grout lines here, so there's no lippage on the material. And then it will be done. We finished grouting the tile, we polished it up, and again, by using the edge strip kits and the self-leveling underlayment when we actually installed the original floor and the floor heating system, we were assured that we did not have a problem. So we did turn lemons into lemonade. Thanks, edge strip kits. Lemonade, anyone?